unless they're homeschool assistants. Then we go that next level and set up in-home conversation. Like at Walleye Tree Auburn, for a number of years, there's been a family that's had homeschool assistants. So we pay a teacher to make visits monthly to that home and support that parent who's not a licensed teacher in providing education. Now, in that particular case, the kids score very well on the test, and that's not a licensed teacher. So it's a mom and a dad would both have college educations, but not in education. That isn't always the case, but we report what those test scores are, then we're told what the next step is related to that.
So, I was just going to say, so what if you've got a family that doesn't present paperwork to the school? Is it the school's responsibility to police that, or does someone else get involved?
No, we've never been given the impression, I'm looking at the principal's desk, it's our job to police it.
First we have to know about it. I didn't know what he asked. First we have to know
without filling out the paperwork, and yes, I guess they could be confused. I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, that they're doing their work, you mean?
I mean, the kid, we know that Billy Jones over here, 15 years old, is not in school, you know, and he should be in school. That's true. And in my mind.
Well, we have a family who's flown under the radar. Now we know about them, and now we can do something about it. But when you don't know about them, it's tough to do anything about it.
I think if I could, we had a situation this year with a student, maybe kind of shed some light on Chris's question, who was reported to us that he was going to be homeschooled. And he said, that's fine. So we got the competent private instruction information to him and said, you have to fill out this form, get this back to us by this particular date, and get it filed and so on and so forth. Well, that date came and went. That's when I called the county attorney and said, here's the situation. This family has said that they're going to homeschool their child. They have not filed the paperwork. They've missed the deadline. What's the next step here? And the county attorney said, get a hold of them and say, you got two options. Either one, you can get the paperwork filed with us and you're homeschooled, or they'll be labeled as truant, and that's when the police or whatever. And that's how the letter was stated. Within 2 days, the letter was in, and the homeschooling began. I think did that kind of answer your question, Chris? Did I answer that?
I didn't know how that. To be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah.
My question was, is whose district is
You
family?
get a district map here?
I do, but I'm not going to.
South side of the road, there's on the north side of the road side.
Like it's south
And they
side.
live on the north side?
South side.
South side, okay.
I just missed.
Well, and right tomorrow is not the day we're going to contact them based on why they're homeless and that sort of thing, but we will get to them.
I guess back to open and roll out, non-public. Do we want to communicate with those families or see if there's any dialogue there, get a reasoning why, or follow up and just again say what maybe we have to offer? I don't know if there's going to be follow-up from all of them or not, probably not, but make an attempt to see why we're losing some of these families, because if you start looking at Kemper kids around 50 and you've got plus or minus 30, I think if the number between the two open and rolled out, there's 80. You know, that's a good chunk of kids. What's the feeling of the board? Boards?
So you want the letter that's addressed to them, you want the letter to be asking them why they left?
Do you think we need to send them a letter, or do you think we need to personally visit with some of these people?
It would be nice to be able to have an interview with them.
I think so too.
I would be glad to go talk to 10, 12, 14. I know most of the people anyway. It doesn't bother me to have a conversation with anyone.
You know, I wonder if maybe the approach would be to gear up some marketing thing, you know, about what we have to offer and, you know, some accomplishments and such like that. If, you know, that would get to them first, and then we would follow up, you know, with an organized plan with a personal contact, and that, you know, whoever contacts or whatever contacts, it's, you know, you know. But you know, I think a personal contact would be good, but I think you know, we've got to flower ourselves, market ourselves to them first, you know.
But we do need to be consistent in what we ask all of these people.
Exactly.
I think the same person, I would think, would follow up and do the questioning, because I'm afraid if, and nothing against anybody here, but if 2 or 3 or 4 people are following up, you might not get the same questions, you might not get the same response. I would like to see the same individual or individuals follow up myself. I think that would be better.
I think if you had a consistent questionnaire though, and you know, some people are going to be more comfortable telling some people why they're doing it and may not tell others as well. So we might get more out of them as to what their situation is.
Well,
That might be.
well, can we agree that we should promote ourselves first before we do that?
Why?
Before we follow up?
We should put together what's good about it.
Yeah. Well, then maybe the thing is that why don't we promote ourselves, and then let's, you know, think about how we want to interview them, and come back and discuss that next time. I'd hate to see us make a decision tonight on how to interview and who's going to interview, because, you know, this is the first time, you know, that we really discussed it. That's my thought.
Surely, marketing is your expertise.
That's what they say.
Would you kind of,
Sure.
you know, pull this thing together and give us some direction here?
Thank you. Take me out. Does John want to help too or not?
John would be.
John always wants to help.
John, good marketer.
You've seen it.
Yes, it would be a pleasure for me to work with you on that, Shirley.
Wow, thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Why don't we bring what we can get put together to the next board meeting,
Okay.
so that the entire board looks at that and looks at what the stuff might be. And
He's not listening.
Pardon?
He's not listening.
I can do 2 things at once. Both of them.
Multitask.
Sounds good.
Okay, that will be the approach we take with open enrollment out, non-public. Then walk me through what your advice would be for neighboring school districts. Whether it makes any difference to you, but I think it should. I have good working relationships with every one of the neighboring superintendents. Multiple times a month, a number of them that I work with or speak with or are at meetings with. So I feel comfortable that I can talk to them, but I also want you to tell me what you're wanting us to do as boards then. What follow-up would you like? What?
To identify those kids and begin and try to find out why they're opening enrollment, how they guess.
Or now we're talking about
Neighboring schools.
Yeah?
The school districts, the letter we sent out to the contiguous schools.
I would, could we send out another letter saying the problem to our January 12th? You know, if this went out, this was only a week ago, a lot of people haven't met yet. So
So we
do we
want,
need to wait a little bit, or do we need to send another letter out?
we can do a follow-up letter. My concern is that it would seem as if everyone wants to read it, so
Sure.
you're going to read the next one before it goes out. And I need to know what you want what you want it to say.
Well, I think we can say that we all realize that we're not large enough over the long haul. And so that all of us are going to have to look at some kind of a reorganization. And are they interested in getting together to talk about what we might have in common, and are we interested in talking further along those lines? That's not refined by any means, it's just thought off the top of my head.
Have you received letters from other districts, and what do they say? No, we haven't. I think we're kind of known as an island among yourselves or something like that.
Well, I don't think so. I think that I really believe that we're ahead of most of them.
Rockville City Lytton is talking with Manson and the Southern Cal. I've talked with Southern superintendent, and I talked with the Southern Cal superintendent, and they have meetings set up, talking with each other.